Hey guys, what's up? This is Wes. It is July 21st. It's about 5:30 in the morning and I am headed to the Keeneland Concours de Elegance. This year's mark is BMW and it's going to be an awesome show. I'm trying to get up there nice and early to see the cars come off the transports. That's my favorite part of any major car show, is seeing the vintage and classic cars and hypercars for that matter come off the transports, because you get to hear them run, you get to hear them idle, burble, 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 and you get to see them in motion a little bit as they're intended to be seen. So anyway, let's go check them out.
McDonald's, may I help you?
Can I get a number one with a large sweet tea, please?
Get you anything else?
Nope.
Oh boy.
Thanks. No. Thanks. There's no one at the ticketing gate, so I will just drive right up to the back line. So we're back here where the transporters are, and it looks like everyone's still asleep because no cars out yet. That is the only way to eat an Egg McMuffin. I'm here with Michelle Struck in her 72 Pantera. Thanks for bringing it out today.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's a beautiful car.
Thank
Matches
you.
your hair. And,
I hear that a lot.
What can you tell us about your car?
Well, we acquired this car 2.5 years ago, and actually my dad and I work on it pretty much solely together. It is one of 2100 built in 72 and one of 436 in red. It has a 351 Cleveland. It's not a super fast car, but it cruises really well. It's super loud. It gets a lot of attention. We just put a new interior in the car in the spring, and really I'm just trying to keep the car as functional and modern, but still be true to the car in its originality.
What made you decide to get a Pantera?
Well, I was a car kid, and to go back a little ways, I was adopted as an infant, and my mom and dad can't change a tire on a car at all. But I was the kid that had this car on my wall, and fast forward when I was 40, I actually found my biological dad, and we had actually been crossing paths at the same drag strip, same car shows, same racetracks all of our life. So when I found him, we actually decided that we needed to do something with a car and came to acquire this.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It was crazy.
These wheels are pretty amazing.
They are made by Boyd Coddington and on Michelin pilots.
And so if you were able to point out one specific part of the car for the judges to take into consideration, what would it be?
Always the back end. The back end is like the best part of the car. So when you come back here, everybody loves to take a picture of the back of it just right from here. It's super impressive. All Pantera enthusiasts really feel like the rear of the car is just the best part. We actually drove it here from Dayton, Ohio, so it took us about 3 hours to get here. We took the radio out of the car for a reason, because it is deafening loud. It feels really secure on the road. The faster that you go in it, the better it feels.
I saw you had a spectator in it earlier, a
Yeah,
little girl.
Absolutely. We try to let kids get in it as much as we can, because I was that kid. And again, my parents weren't into cars, so if I would have had the opportunity, it would have been really bad. But yeah, we always try to let kids sit in the cars. Absolutely.
It's a beautiful car.
Thank you so
for bringing
much.
it out today.
Thank
And,
you. We're
good
honored
luck.
to be here. Thank you so much.
So many Porsches behind me. I think I should strip down naked and yell Miata's rule. Got an old orange Lambo and a new orange Lambo. All right, I'm standing here with Jim Seibert, and this is his 1924 Model T Speedster. And how long have you had it?
I've had it about 4 years now.
All right. And what made you bring it out here today?
I wanted a good weekend to have fun. I wanted to see all the cars, and they were really nice with the invite. So, and it's Keeneland.
Yeah, can't beat that. And what makes this car so special to be out here today?
It has an Ames bonnet that was built in Owensboro, Kentucky. Not many of those left, and that's pretty much why I bought it.
And so what was the Ames bonnet?
Back in the day, you could buy a Model T just stripped down, and you could buy any kind of body you want to put on, and that's what you'd do. You'd order it from the factory, they'd deliver it, and you'd put whatever type body you wanted on it.
And what was this body mainly used for?
More like the Speedy Racy. It had the little circles for the wind. It just was a sportier body.
Okay, cool.
We had the four-cylinder, was a 171 cubic inch engine, but we put a Harley-Davidson carburetor on it for easier maintenance, and we also have an electric start, so we run a Volkswagen distributor on it. I think you can put Volkswagen parts on any car.
Tell us about the hood ornament here.
Oh, it's just a stock hood ornament. You can still buy them. With a temperature gauge, of course. If it starts getting in the red, you know you're going to have problems. Better keep moving.
Is it hard to see from the driver's seat?
No, not at all.
Tell us about the interior.
Well, the interior, I'm sad to say, is vinyl, but that's more durable than leather. And the way my kids jump on it, I'm glad. And we have an antique stopwatch for timing our laps. We have a vintage fire extinguisher on the back for when you do catch fire. We even found a 1924 license plate we had to paint it. Came off a barn in West Virginia. And the best part is a gentleman driver never goes out on the road without proper provisions. That being said, proper provisions. Still unfinished, guys. And that is the Model T Thunderchild.
Ford retractable has got to be the most specific category I think I've ever seen at a Concorde. about 8 o'clock in the morning and I already smell like exhaust, and it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm here with James Helmer Jr. and this is his 2006 Ford GT. How you doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing all right. So tell us a little bit about your car.
Well, it's a 2006 model. Ford only ran the GT model for 2 years, in 05 and 06. They made a total of 4,000 in those 2 years, and then destroyed the tooling, so there won't be any more of those. The GT Heritage was a special model that they made, 343 of these. It's got the Heritage paint scheme to commemorate Ford's victories in 1968 and 1969 at Le Mans. As you remember the story, but Ford originally built the GT40 to compete with Ferrari at Le Mans and totally dominated international racing with the Ford GT40. They lost the name Ford GT40, so it's now just the Ford GT. It was originally designed that the car was 40 inches tall. That's why it was called the GT40. This one is 42 inches tall, 5 inches off the ground. It's 550 horsepower. There were 4 options available for the car. The BBS wheels, the painted brake calipers, the stripe, and the Macintosh stereo system. This car has all 4 of those options, and it has a 5th option, which is the number package. They give you a package of every number that's out there because they raced so many GT40s that virtually every number was used. This car has a number 3 on it because that's the same number as on another one of the race cars that I happen to own, a Trans Am 1969 Javelin SST. So that's why it's got the number 3 on it. I've owned the car since new. I had 2 miles on it when I got it. When I drove it home from the dealership, I still to this day couldn't tell you if I got it home in 2nd gear, 4th gear, or 6th gear. I just know I got it home somehow. Yeah. And this is its 2nd concourse event it's done. It did a 2008 concourse in Cincinnati, which it won its class in 2008. This is the 2nd time we've had it out. Now in 1968, they ran this color scheme, Golf Blue and Epic Orange is what it's called. They ran this color scheme at Le Mans with the number 6 on the car. And won Le Mans. In 1969, same color scheme, Golf Blue and Epic Orange, but they had a number 9 on the car, and it also won Le Mans. So you may see some out there that'll have a 6 or a 9 on them, and that's why.
What year was it when they took the top 3 spots?
That was their first year, which is 1966. In fact, they slowed the cars down so that they all could come across the finish line. The idea was to have them all finish first. They were going to have them all 3 come across. And at the last minute, they decided that wouldn't work. So they had a 1-2-3 finish. They swept Le Mans, and then they dominated international racing after that until their engine output got outlawed after '69.
For winning
at that
too
point,
much.
Ford said, "We proved our point. We don't need to do any more." And that was the end of the GT40 line until they resurrected it in 2005.
So as far as fitting in the car, is it tight?
Fits you like a glove. It's not too much of a problem getting in them. The problem is when you go to get out, hitting your head on this door. So what you have to do, the trick, and I learned this the hard way, is you have to turn your body and look at the rear wheel, and that'll pull you in this direction so you don't bang your head on the door.
Wow.
Now in '66, their driver was very tall. He would fit in the car only by putting a bubble in the door. So his helmet would fit in there. So if you see an original one, you may see one with a bubble on it. That's one of the ones that the driver needed to fit his helmet in. Let me tell you another story about this. You see the aluminum inserts in the seat. Okay? On the original GT40s, that was standard because there was no air conditioning in the cars to help keep the driver cool. When Ford was designing this one in 2004, 2005, the lawyers got involved and said, if we sell that car to somebody in Arizona, they'll get in it one day when it's 120 degrees and they'll come out looking like a waffle. So the lawyers prevented them from putting the aluminum rings in the standard car. But we had some made, that's why you see aluminum rings in
Very
this.
cool.
In the original GT40s, there was two gas tanks, one on each side. So there'd be one of these on the right and one on the left. The designer of this car wanted to mimic that and have one on the right and the left, even though the fuel was only going to go on the right side. The lawyers got involved and nixed that one too, because their thought was that somebody will get confused and put gasoline on the left side, which they probably would have used for window washer fluid or something, and start a fire. The third thing that the designer wanted that he didn't get because of the lawyers was he did not want a rear bumper on the car. And that, of course, federal safety standards required that, so the lawyers won that one pretty easily. And I enjoy having it, enjoy looking at it. When I was a young man, I didn't have much money, but I liked cars, so I made a list of cars I wanted to own. And one day I woke up and I had a few dollars and I found that list. And what I realized was all those cars on your list are still out there in somebody's garage, and they're just waiting for you. If you're patient and take your time, you can find them. And that's what happened with this one. Ford came along and built it. And I looked all over the country for it. Finally found it in a little dealership outside of Detroit. So it was sitting on the showroom floor, kind of lonely. It covered with dust, and I had just had the 2 miles on it. But we had it delivered down to Cincinnati, and I've enjoyed it ever since. The car was designed by a man named Camillo Pardo. And Camillo is an internationally known artist, fashion designer, furniture designer, and automobile designer. He also designed the Ford Thunderbird, the second rendition of the Ford Baby Bird. It's one that he worked on. He did a painting of this car and sent it to me, and he forgot to sign it. So I called him and said, Camillo, you didn't sign your painting. He said, no problem, I'll come to your house in Cincinnati and sign it. I said, where are you? So I'm down in Miami at a car show. So he got in his car with his girlfriend, and they drove, and it was a GT just like this one, except it had a number 4 on it. Just exactly the same paint scheme. And he drove from Miami to my house. They rolled up a couple of t-shirts and stuck them behind the seat, put a tent up in the bonnet, which is not very large, and drove up there and spent the day signing pictures and signed the car in 3 places. And I also had one of his Thunderbirds, and he signed that up for me too. There's 2 safety catches, so it's actually a 2-person job.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's your supercharger on top there. That's what you're looking at. Now, when you drive the car and you look over your right shoulder or you look in your mirror, all you see is that belt turning. That's all you can see out the back. The car has an unbelievable stereo, this Macintosh stereo, but you never listen to it because what you want to hear is this. Is not the stereo, you want to hear this.
Oh, very nice car.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So that's it from the 2018 Keeneland Concours Elegance. We saw some amazing cars, got to talk to some amazing people. If you ever get a chance, come check it out. It's one of the premier concours in the Midwest. So thanks for watching, and until next time, Motogami.